Awesome. Hey everyone, hope you are all well. I used to do a little 30-second intro thing, but much more fun just to go straight live. Hope all's good. The thing I wanted to speak about today is how to pivot your career or how to change industries. Before I do that, give everyone a chance to tune in. If you haven't already, please make sure to sign up to my YouTube channels. I've got two. Don't take out your phone. Bentley Lewis, and then you can see all of the recruitment show content. The Don't Take Out Your Phone is really cool conversations with CEOs and business leaders and all of that stuff. So sign up. Thank you everyone for sending loads of questions, and I've been picking the best ones for this month. So this is my second espresso, and so many people, really good friends of mine, candidates, people I've just met, just so many people are going through this right now, and I really wanted to go through, from my experience and from what I've been hearing, what I think people need to do and the things you can do to start to pivot your career if you need to change your career, if you think your industry is dead or it's not going to be around for a while. There's so much change going on right now. So, but I think before I even start with that, I think there just needs to be a real appreciation of actually how difficult it is emotionally. It's physically draining, it's tough. I've done it 3 times. Just to put into context, I did a chemistry degree for 4 years, decided actually I wasn't that great at science and it wasn't something that I wanted to do as a career. I set up my own business in the fashion sector. I went into manufacturing. So that's almost like 3 careers. I mean, fashion, manufacturing, similar. And then I went into the recruitment sector. So that's another pivot. And then after 5 years in the recruitment sector, I was like, I think I'd like to do my own business. So another pivot. So, I've gone through this a bunch of different times in different times and moments of my life. And, whether you're just starting out and you realize you've done a degree or you haven't, or whatever the scenario is, and you want to change, it's really tough, emotionally, physically, mentally. And if you're in the middle of your career, coming to the end of your career, equally it's tough. So I think, just appreciating that it is tough. The one thing I would also say, and I spoke to a really good friend of mine last night, if you're out of work right now and you feel like you need to change, pivot, just getting out in the morning for a little walk and some exercise is really, really useful. I'm finding so many people, they're at home, they're obviously not going into the office. If they're out of work, they're at home, and it's very easy to get stuck on the couch. And certainly so much of it right now is online, right? Like you're networking online, and I went through this in the last espresso, an amazing opportunity to network like crazy online from your living room, but you've got to get out. So if you take anything away from this, get out for like a half an hour walk in the morning to clear your head and just to prepare yourself, because finding a job, looking to pivot your career, also the fact, economics of course plays into this. If you don't have a job, you need to make money, etc. So getting out and just taking a breath and walking around, super, super important. So definitely do that. Some of the things I've noticed and I've heard, I've tried to distill them into kind of 10 things that I feel are really, really important. And I think the first for me is just to accept that there's no shortcuts. It does take time. It takes time to even just at the beginning, just think about, okay, a friend of mine, if he's watching, I won't mention his name, but he was organizing live events. And suddenly, he found himself in an industry which didn't exist anymore, wasn't sure when it would start again. As time's gone on, there's a debate as to how many live events what's it going to look like? Is it going to be a mix? These kinds of things. And he thought, okay, well, look, actually, I don't have the skills to start organizing online events. They were looking for people with a different skill set. So he really had to take a moment and think about, okay, this might take a while. What are the skills that I have? What are my strengths? And really just sit down and kind of plan a little bit of, how can he pivot, but what can he pivot to? So you need to take a moment to think about that. it might be a bunch of different things. You don't have to know exactly what you want to do. And when growing up at school, so much of the dialogue is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's almost like expected that, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a stockbroker, I want to be but in reality, that's not how it works. And it's cool to not know exactly what you want to do. And it's also fine to try different things. And so accepting that is great. Accepting also that it might take some time and a little bit of planning. So sit down, appreciate it might take a bit of time, and think about what your skills are, what your strengths are, and how you can double down on that. And are there related industries? Can you do your thing in a different space? If you can't, think about trying to acquire those skills. So I spoke to a lady last week, actually, and she was in marketing, wanted to be an IT developer. And so she did a course, loads of like MOOCs at the moment, massive online learning communities. She did some courses, she learned coding, and she started to transition. So it took some time, but she thought about what she wanted to do, how to achieve the knowledge, and then started to do that, which is great. The other thing for me, and this is my second point, is just you have to commit to small steps. So it's like slow and steady, right? This is not going to happen quick. It might if you're lucky, but I think just to manage your expectations almost and your own mindset, it's a slow and steady march, and a lot of different activities, whether it's networking, whether it's doing courses, those kinds of things. So it's slow and steady, and it's really diving into it. And it's my third point almost is these little small actions will build up and build up. And if you do them every day, these small activities, whether it's diving into LinkedIn, searching for people that are relevant to the industry that you want to get into, starting to read their posts, liking, engaging, starting to then ask them if they can have a coffee with you. So like you can dive in virtually in an outstanding way right now. And I did this in my last espresso. You can, have your walk, you sit down and you're like, okay, I want to go into hand painted advertising. Who are the people I need to speak to? What's the industry like? Is it, and this is for me, hugely important thing. Think about moving into an industry where people are in demand, right? So you want to be in demand. You want to be, which basically means there's loads of jobs and not many people. Really easy to find what the in-demand jobs are right now. Hop on Google, search for it. I think LinkedIn do a survey. There's so many. So you can dive into LinkedIn. You can get up like the top 5 to 10 in-demand jobs right now, and start transitioning to that. Because the pandemic, technology, it's affecting loads of jobs. Loads of jobs won't exist in 5 to 10 years. But guess what? There's so many amazing new jobs that are being created right now. Some really, really cool stuff. So think about how to transition into that. What are the steps you need to take? And start to speak to the people, start to learn, start to educate yourself, and start to pivot into that. And also just accept again that, you might have to make imperfect moves. It's not always going to be perfect. Maybe it's a slight sidestep, because like your career is not going to be linear. There's loads of ups and downs. If I look at my own career, it's changed. It's gone in different ways. Even when you're doing a job that I do, there's so many ups and downs. So it's just accepting that that's the game. You're going to have to try different things. It's fine to do that. Loads of people do that. And I think as well, just explore people, explore it, speak to people without expectation. So many people, when they're diving into the networking, which is great, and they're speaking to people, whoever it may be, go in with that expectation. Go in, asking for help, seeking knowledge, because things don't always happen. People aren't always going to have stuff for you. So explore with that expectation, be open to things, take in the knowledge, and embrace the journey. Like your story is completely unique, which is amazing. Like we're all different. We've all got different skills, and embrace that. It's great to do different things. And it's about really then thinking about crafting your story. So like, what is your narrative? And so the big thing that people fear is, when you go and see someone, like, what do you say? You were doing recruitment before and suddenly you want to go into selling something different, or you want to go into IT development, and you get that opportunity. Someone's like, yeah, let's have a chat. And then it's like, oh, right, okay. Like, what do I do? So sit down and think about selectively describing your narrative. So much about getting in, and someone giving you opportunity is about them buying into your story. Like, what is it about your narrative, your career history, your life experience that would be interesting for them? A lot of people are starting to hire for potential over pedigree, although we're not quite there yet. But again, like those soft skills: be kind, be empathetic, be engaging, be interested, ask questions. These little things can really make the difference between someone liking you. And when someone likes you, they kind of want to hire you. Like, I could haven't quite got the skills, but there's that something about you that they really like. And that's going to come from how you come across, storytelling. So think of that like it's classic storytelling arc. And so describe your journey. Describe the story. It's if you say it in the right way, if you think about it, you plan it. Like, people really, really, really love that. So spend some time thinking about that. The other thing also I would say is think about going outside of your own network. So if you do want to move from one industry to a completely different industry, it's probably going to require a different network. It's going to require you having to speak to people that you don't know. Like they say, you earn, I don't know who they is, but you earn the average of your social circle, right? Like, if you think about the people that professionally, most are going to be in the industry that you're currently in. So again, like, use the technology that we have available to us. Dive in, join the conversation. Again, if you missed the last one, like, search on LinkedIn for something that's relevant to the industry that you want to get into. Sort it by content, and you're going to get millions and millions of posts from people that are talking about the thing you want to get into. Then start to like their stuff, start to comment, start to engage with them, start to send them messages, ask them for virtual coffees, ask them for help, without expectation, and start to build a nice network in the industry that you want to go into. And if you do it every day, 5-10 messages a day, that's going to build up, and suddenly you're going to have a really, really good, strong network in an industry that you want to go into, and that's going to help you. The other thing I would also say is plan a moment in time where you think, okay, I've really given this a go. It's time to walk away now, because it might not happen. Like, if you're really, 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 really after one thing, and it just might not happen for you. And I think there are moments in time where it's like, okay, I've tried that, I'm going to move on to something else, which is fine. So you might have a few things that you're trying to get into. There might be one, like, you're super passionate about it, and I'll speak about passion in a second, actually. But there's got to be a moment where you're like, okay, look, I've given this a go. What's related, or what else can I move into? So just accept also that there's a reality to it, and you try and you do your best, and you do the things that you can control, which is the stuff I've just talked about. Don't worry about the rest, the stuff you can't control. But if you've done all you can, and you've put the effort in, and it's just not happening in that space, then you have to be able to say, okay, I'm going to walk away. The other thing about passion, which you hear it all the time, right? If you're in LinkedIn, Clubhouse, listen to people talking, it's always like, follow your passion, do something you're super passionate about. But not everyone's found the thing that they're really passionate about. It puts a lot of pressure on people. Like, you speak to people like, oh, I need to find my passion. Like, it'd be great to work in my passion. But, I think it's to step back from that and just think about, like, what interests you, like what energizes you. What would you like to do? It's not quite as pressurized. I've got to find my passion. So think about things that are interesting. Start there. It's a bit less. Alarm's going on. It's a bit less pressurizing. I've got to find my passion, because there's this whole thing of, you need to find a job, economics. You want to be working, contributing. You want to be doing something that's interesting. So, don't put that passion thing pressure on yourself. My last point is trust your instincts. Go through all these activities, speak to people, network. Go all in on that. When you're thinking about pivoting, that's the time to go all in. Don't hold back. Right now, you've got so many great tools and technology to enable you to meet the people you want to meet, learn the stuff you want to learn, retrain, reskill. And you can learn something from like the best lecturer in finance from Harvard sitting in London. I mean, there's some amazing things right now, and you can do it all online. So go all in, trust yourself. Take a breath, take a moment. If you need any help, drop me a DM. I really hope this is helpful. If you want me to speak about anything else, you've got any other questions, please keep sending me messages as you guys have been doing. And good luck. Speak to you soon. Bye.